What's popping with the population? Is another episode of Do Rag with the Cape Road. It's your boy, me, Dre. I still haven't found a smoother way to intro that. But this is episode I don't even know because I kind of stopped counting. Shout out to the sweater, free Palestine until everybody free. It's wild. I think we on day like 125 or 26 of the war in Palestine. Yeah, we getting straight to it. I'm trying to knock these episodes out and giving you as much as I can. Pause in a condensed period of time. But I think it's like day 125 or 126 of the war. And then it's been over 70 years of the illegal occupation by the Ashkenazi Jews that came over with the help of the British during the end of World War II, after the British felt like they owed the Ashkenazi Jews. And I wonder if because if I'm not mistaken, some Nazis ended up going to Spain. So I don't know if they also attacked Spanish Jews. I know they killed Ashkenazi Jews and Austrian Jews. I don't know if they killed Spanish Jews. I don't remember off the top of my head. But I'm just saying Ashkenazi Jews because that's like the big group of Jewish people that migrated over to Palestine. That's the non-colonized name of Palestine. In 1948, when the British were like, yo, we got a place for you guys to go. We heard you want to start a Jewish state, and we also need a watchdog to make sure those Arab countries act right. So come on over to Palestine. They're no longer an Ottoman Empire, and although there's already Jewish people living here, how about you all live here and make settlements and whatnot? Yeah, but nevertheless, it's like day 126 or 27 of the ongoing genocide of the Arab people in Palestine. There was supposed to be peace talks or talk of ceasefire. Hamas they had a deal, I think it was for like 100 days. I forgot how many days it was supposed to last for, but it's supposed to be like peace talks. Hamas gives up all of their hostages, and in turn, Israel gives up all of its hostages, because the thing you need to remember is language matters. A lot of the times when you hear on the news media, especially in the West, of the talks of a hostage swap, they tend to say the people that Hamas, the extremist part of the Hamas government, because Hamas is a government, just like the IDF is a government, but the extremist part of the Hamas government, they tend to say that the people that they have are hostages, which they are, but they say that the people that Israel has are prisoners, which they're not. They are also hostages. If you didn't know, a large group of people that are in Israeli prisons that are Palestinian are in there for throwing rocks at tanks. They have children in their prisons. So yeah, just realize that language, euphemisms, double talk, spin doctor type stuff is big when it comes to genocide. So it's day, like I said, like 120 something. They came to Bibi, that's Netanyahu, that's their prime minister, the dude that there are also a lot of Israeli people that don't like him, but you don't see that in the media because they need to keep the narrative the way it is, because again, spin doctor type, they need to make sure that you think that everybody in Palestine is a terrorist and everybody in Israel is a righteous person fighting for their sovereignty, which that is not true in the slightest, because again, Hamas is a government, but also there's extremist offshoot, which was the ones that committed the atrocities on October 7th, and the people of Palestine, aka Palestine, are not representative of said government, just like the IDF is not representative of all of Israel. There are a lot of Israeli people who do rock with that, though. But that's not everybody, not by a long shot. And that's not, and they aren't representative of Jewish people as a whole. But they will make you believe that because they want you to pit one versus the other. And when you say anything about one, which being Israel, they deem you as being anti-Semitic, which actually makes absolutely no sense, because if you are pushing for the end of the occupation and the stopping of the war and the wanting to create a whole Palestine where Jewish people and Palestinian people live in peace, and anybody who's against that goes about their business, they call you anti-Semitic. But a Semite is an Arab person, and they're killing Arab people, so wouldn't that make them anti-Semitic? But Hamas, again, like I said, came to your boy Bibi about a peace deal or whatever, a ceasefire. They're like, nah, we don't want to do that. We want complete and total victory.
זהו אחד מיעדי המלחמה, והלחץ הצבאי הוא תנאי הכרחי להשלמתו. אני עובד בעניין הזה סביב השעון, אבל שיהיה ברור, אני דוחה על הסף את תנאי הקנייה של מפלצות החמאס. התנאים שמעמיד החמאס מחדדים אמת פשוטה. אין תחליף לניצחון. רק ניצחון מוחלט יבטיח את חיסול החמאס והחזרת כל חטופינו. את הדברים האלה אמרתי לנשיא ביידן בשיחתנו בסוף השבוע. אני מאוד מעריך את התמיכה של ארצות הברית בישראל.
Which sounds very genocide-y, but we don't want that. But you would, that doesn't make any sense though, because you would think, this has been going on since October 8th, well 7th when it started, but before that, this whole thing has been since 1948. But let's just talk, let's be pragmatic. Since October 7th, this has been going on. After Hamas attacked and the IDF didn't respond in time, because there's been mad reports that they were in the West Bank committing committing more atrocities with the illegal settlements that they have in the West Bank, that it took a longer time to respond. And also there's been reports that the IDF knew that Hamas was going to do. They had intelligence about this for over a year, allegedly. Nevertheless, Hamas attacked. The IDF responded with this war, killing, I think right now, about 27,000 Palestinians, and I think they said about 11,000 of those are children.
Yet in 4 months, the IDF has killed, wounded, or captured over 20,000 terrorists, more than half of Hamas's fighting force.
Doing numbers. Big genocide. It's big genocide. Doing big genocide numbers out there, like Wilt Chamberlain type numbers. LeBron James ongoing scoring champion record type numbers. They said, you give us our hostages, we'll give you your hostages. Bibi's like, nah, complete and total victory. We're not about that. This is not what we're about to do. You have people like, what? What are you talking about? I could have swore this was about the hostages. Like, as far as we know, as far as what's been reported, at least 3 of them have been killed by IDF, the hostages, the 3 that they talked about on the news for a little bit. But other people are saying that hostages have been killed prior to that. Nevertheless, so then what is this for then? If you're not doing it, there's people's families have been broken up because of what happened on October 7th. And you're talking about you're not doing this until you get complete total victory. Like you're not. So is this not about those people? What is this really about? Like, it's wild what this government is choosing to do in the name of, I guess, national. I don't even know. Like, is it nationalism? Is it wanting an ethno state? Like, what are we doing? Because what's wild about all of this is like, again, if you follow the trail from the beginning to the end, like just follow the jelly beans, that dog needs to shut up. Israel shouldn't exist as far as what it does right now. The state of Israel was created because the British wanted to create a hub in the West altogether, like the US and France and everybody wanted to create a hub to be able to funnel weapons to keep the Middle East, Arab nations, and African nations in check. They did that. They brought these people here who were from Germany and Austria, and maybe Spain, but Germany and Austria for sure, to a place that they wasn't from. So much so, the people of Israel, a large majority of them, so much so aren't from there, that in 2003, Israel was ranked the second highest place, the second highest, had the second highest rate of melanoma, of like skin cancer in the world. And you want to know who the other two countries that were like in the top three with them? Australia and New Zealand. You want to know what all three of those like countries, states, or whatever have in common? Colonization. All three of those are colonizer projects. Those are settler colonizer projects.
Learning about history and in different cultures, and I learned something about white people. I learned that we invented credit, like taking credit for things that like maybe you shouldn't have. This is how it started. I think like one day we saw another race with some really cool invention, and we got a little nosy, and we were like, "Hey, who invented this thing?" They were just like, "Well, it doesn't matter who made it. What matters is we can all use it and appreciate it." And we were like, oh.
So, in 2003, they were ranked like number 2, I think. And then one report I saw was 3rd. Now they ranked number 22nd. Because after they had that, the scare, those numbers going insane like they were, they have like a skin cancer day. Like, I think it's in June or whatever. And they get a big import of sunblock and stuff like that. Shouldn't that tell you something? Maybe leave or figure this out. Like maybe the earth is like, yo, fam, you don't go to Germany, or just figure out like how you work within this thing. Because I read up on it. It was wild because it just really threw me off. I read up on it, and one of the articles I read from an Israeli publication, they tried to run the line that Ashkenazi Jewish people are more prone to 3 types of cancer: melanoma, like skin cancer, breast cancer, and cervical cancer. They tried to say like that was just something they were prone to, as if like a lot of human beings aren't just prone to cancer. Like, don't make that excuse. I think that's kind of weird. No, I'm not saying that you can't have like genetic disposition to one disease or another. But it seems kind of like forced, though, that you say that when there's a large group of people who don't belong in a place, who are in a place and doing a real foul thing. Like, so much so that they're getting skin cancer. That's crazy. And you have people like Bibi talking about, nah, this war is not going to end until we get complete victory. What about the hostages? There's families broken apart who haven't seen their children, their mothers, their fathers in 4 months.
ואתמול עולה ראש הממשלה ואומר לא תהיה עסקה. על הגב של מי לא תהיה עסקה?
על הגב של אלה שלי הוא רוצה שלא מתפשר. אם זה הילדים שלך, מה היית עושה? מה? אני שואל אותך אם זה הילדים שלך.
כמה
מה היית עושה? היית כל הוועדה הזאת.
כמה הכיבוש
ולהגיד אף אחד מוכן, נכון? בסדר עכשיו, תקום עכשיו. בשקט, תרימו את עצמכם, מה זה?
Because you are bombarding Gaza with all types of weapons from America. And then America has the nerve to be like, yeah, nah, we gotta give them guns and stuff. Like, we got a situation going on with the border, but also guns. But then also in the same bill that they're proposing for the border, they're giving guns to Israel. They call it aid, but that's just guns. And then you're giving aid, like money to Gaza for like humanitarian aid. That's it kind of defeats the purpose, no? You don't think that's kind of off, fam? Like, you supply the weapons and then you supply the medical bill? Money for the medical bill? That doesn't make sense.
Man, sit your dumb ass down.
Why would you shoot? That doesn't. How does that make sense? How do you rationalize these things? Like, these are colonizers kind of like mindsets and mind states. Like, why are you doing this? What is the end goal to all these people losing their lives? You have people from Gaza losing their lives, families being destroyed, homes, everything destroyed. They said it would take like 25 years to kind of put together some of the infrastructure in Gaza if Palestine goes back to Palestine or whatever have you. You have people in Israel, like Jewish people, like who haven't seen their family members, like their family has just basically been used as a Trojan horse, like collateral for you to be able to do this. The wild part is that Israel would have was doing this stuff, that IDF was doing this kind of stuff anyway. The only difference now is that it's like on a national stage, like more people are talking about it, and really they just kind of, like Netanyahu and the rest of them feel kind of disrespected that people are talking about it. Like, fam, how dare like the U.S. say something? Because this is a colonial settler project. Like this land was stolen. This land doesn't even belong to anybody. It's this land. People lived here. That's even the wilder part. Think about that. Like, people are at a point, not even at a point, people have been on this clearly. But think about the fact that humans think that they own land. You don't own any of this. Borders don't even make sense when you really think about it. It's basically, you're saying, I stole this, right? So I'm going to section this off from you guys over there that I stole it from. So you can't come over here because I stole this. And if you try to come over here, there's going to be problems. Because like you hear people argue about like I said, people migrating over and stuff of that nature. But when you look into how difficult it actually is and how long of a process it is to be able to acquire citizenship in America, you start to realize like, oh, calling people, like, granted, there are people who illegally come to this country as far as like don't go through the full processes to become a citizen. But again, I'm not a fan of borders because, like I said, everything is stolen. So it's kind of wild to make borders. It's like, that's like me taking a cookie from you and then telling you, hey, hands off, you don't touch the thing I just took. But nevertheless, pragmatically speaking, took the land. Pragmatically speaking, people are coming here. The people that are coming here, they're trying to get citizenship, have to go through such a long and arduous process to do it, where it could take sometimes years because it's so backed up for you to actually get citizenship. Where like you get a green card, work visa, you go through the process doing all that. But that's all a process. It's all long. It all takes forever. And you still have people here who are like, oh, nah, they come in here and they taking our jobs and yada, yada, yada. It's like, if you want to look at it from another standpoint, with talking about taking jobs, they're doing a lot of jobs that you wouldn't do anyway, right? Like the labor influx is of people who are working jobs you don't want to do anyway, or that don't exist as far as a real job, but they need somebody to do it and they know you won't do it. So they're getting these people who are coming from situations that I've spoken about before, were created by Western powers like America, and put them in a position where they have to leave said places to come to where the grass is greener, so to speak. And again, it's putting you in a position of thinking like, where's your mind? Like, where's the mind at with all of this? Like, why do we think this makes any sense? Like, we got to peel back the layers. The fact that the as far as in America, that the border bill has aid money for Israel to continue to kill people is insane. Like, what are we doing? It's like you're taking ownership of things that aren't yours and then bragging about it and then thinking it's okay. Like, nationalism in and of itself is kind of wild, because if you look at early humanity, early nations were really just tribes. They didn't really have, I mean, they had land because they lived it, but they were really just tribes. So it's like tribalism turned nationalism and then turned like this psychosis. Nevertheless, but when you think about it, it's like you're taking ownership of things like that aren't yours as far as like nationalism. It's insane, fam. Like, it's even down to like colonialism is like down to like from thinking you own a piece of land to thinking you own a haircut. Like, you have people literally calling a fade a Travis Kelce. So much so that they did a damn news piece on it.
Might not be able to get his girlfriend, but you can get his haircut.
Can Travis Kelce's popularity soar any higher?
Talking about Travis Kelce getting this haircut, acting like it was a new phenomenon. Like, they basically tried to make him the new Bo Derek or Kim Kardashian with the boxer braids. It's like, fam, that's a fade. It's just a regular fade or a buzz cut or whichever one he had. So they were doing it, they were going so heavy with calling it the Travis Kelce that Travis Kelce himself had to.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And to do it on February 1st, to throw me to the wolves like that was messed up, man. I don't want anything to do with that one, man. I got a good fade if you need it, though. It's a 2 on top, a nice high to mid fade with the taper in the back. But I didn't invent that. I just asked for it.
Like, what do you got? What? No. Like, what's happening right now? Like, and then, like,
Sit your
what?
dumb ass down.
Like, you got his shorty, Taylor Swift, who is like, I don't know, people love her. Listen, whatever. She doing her rendition of swag surfing at football games, and people are like, oh, what's this thing? What? And it's gotten so like, it's gotten like a new buzz to it, like new life, that the dude that made swag surfing is like, yo, I would love to do a remix with Taylor Swift. Like, I get why he said that, like, because I mean, it's money. Taylor Swift has a large fan base for sure. I don't know if she would ever do one, but even still, you look at that, it's like, no, stop appropriating things. What's wrong with y'all? Like, why do you need to do things that aren't? I mean, not even do. You can do whatever you want, but pay homage to where you got it from. But what? Pay homage to where you got it from. Like, let's not act like these things aren't these things. Like, for instance, back to the nationalism conversation and the whole thing of ownership of things that you don't own. There's a story of like, I think Dave Chappelle brought this story up, but I mean, you can Google it because, like, if I'm not mistaken, it really actually happened. It wasn't just like an anecdotal thing. But like the colonizers or whatever, the Pilgrims or whoever, not necessarily, it wasn't the Pilgrims, but the I think it was I don't remember who came to the natives that lived in Manhattan, but they asked them how much was the land, and they like, what do you mean? Like, this is how much? Like, we just live here. Give me $1. Like, basically, they both walked away thinking the same thing. That dude's stupid. Because, and you can see from the native standpoint where it's like, fam, how do you own this? This is something that you just own. You don't own, this is just something that you just own. And then the people that bought it is like, yeah, these idiots don't realize I can make all these businesses and create borders to tell people where they can and can't go on a piece of thing that I have no control over. What are we doing, bro? Like, what is happening that people think that it makes any sense to fund genocide with taxpayer money whilst believing that the genocide that is being funded with taxpayer money is going to end in something that isn't a genocide, that isn't an ending of a people, that doesn't cause a mass diaspora, where in a few months we're going to be talking about the migrant crisis with all these Arab people coming in, because there's going to be a bunch of Palestinian people coming here as refugees because of the land that was taken from them by a group of people who aren't even from there. Because I just don't think, because Germany and Gaza, they both start with a G, but they're not the same place. Austria and not the same place. Spain, not the same place. Europe and Gaza aren't the same place. And then the fact that Germany backs what Israel is doing makes even more sense. Because they're like, bro, don't come back. Yeah, do whatever you want, but you can't get none of your land back if you even come back here. It's like evil begets evil. And it's stupidity, really. I forgot what philosopher or intellectual said this, but he said that evil is very easy to thwart in the grand scheme of things, because you can identify it, you can attack it however you need to, and you can extinguish, exterminate it, go about your business, like move on to something else. Stupidity is something that you can't really, you can identify, but you can't really attack, because it's so ingrained in so like embedded in certain mindsets and cultures or whatever, that it's not necessarily seen as stupid. Or if it is stupid, it's just like some people can look at it as innocuous, or just like scoff it off, or like it's nothing. Like you can't really attack stupid, because it's like it's a mental thing, and it's like just like evil is a mental thing too. But like it's just one of those things where it just permeates. And like again, everybody doesn't necessarily want to attack stupid, because stupid can find ways to stick around. For instance, this genocide stuff, they can keep trying to dance their way around what's actually happening, as all not like you trying to play in my face. Like you had protesters, I think 60 Jewish protesters in New York got arrested, or it was just 60 anti-colonialism, imperialism, basically anti-Israel, but anti-colonialism protesters got arrested. But I think majority of them were Jewish. But just speaking out about Joe Biden and his genociding and stuff, and enabling that, and like he's a wild dude, because he doesn't even know where he is.
I'm an elderly man, and I know what the hell I'm doing. I've been president. I put this country back on its feet. I don't need his recommendation. It's totally
How bad is your memory, and can you continue as president?
And he's doing a lot of the stuff, like granted, he's had some initiatives and some bills or whatever during his presidency that he passed that on paper are supposed to be good for the nation. I don't really know. I've read about them and seen it, but I can't tell you I feel any different. I feel less, I would say, nervous which is weird, but since Trump isn't in office, but at the end of the day, they're both two sides of the same ass. I mean, well, they're both a side of the same ass altogether. One cheek, one's the right cheek, one's the left cheek. I think on camera, this is my right, this is my left, whatever. But he is pissed about people questioning whether or not he knows where he is majority of the time, because they had a report come out that he's not going to be in trouble for having documents that he shouldn't have had, just like Trump. But his argument is that he forgot and all this and the third. And you like, how can he get away with having documents but Trump couldn't? Well, the way that they framed it was that Trump fought against the authorities, and that he didn't cooperate when they asked him about it, and he tried to get rid of pertinent information when they asked him about it, allegedly. So that's the difference. And with Biden, it was just, I forgot. I think they should both be in the same amount of trouble. If you have stuff that is labeled top secret, and especially if you're saying you forgot you had it.
Read, nigga, read!
And then you got him tight because the dude that did the report on it was like, oh yeah, he just old. He's like, how you gonna call me old? What do you mean I'm old? Like, and then questioned something about his son passing away because one of his sons died during military service.
Attention paid to some language in the report about my recollection of events. There's even reference that I don't remember when my son died. How in the hell?
And it's wild that you can have compassion for your son, but there's thousands of sons in Palestine being killed.
The Sunday night attack was overwhelming.
Your son been stabbed. The first thing came to my mind is I'm gonna lose my son.
Nizar Dawar says his 23-year-old Palestinian-American son is recovering after being stabbed in the chest, breaking one of his ribs. Zachariah Dawar is not a UT Austin student, but had participated in a pro-Palestinian rally and was with friends in the area. Zachariah did not attend the press conference today, but his father says he asked him to share this message.
He said, Mr. President, Mr. Joe Biden, I blame you. I blame you for what happened to me. If you would have called for a ceasefire 3 months ago, this will have never happen.
And you don't care. And none of your politician friends care.
You haven't seen the pictures of all the babies being killed?
These are not innocent Palestinian civilians across the world. When you're
Shame on you. Shame on you.
Raising money to well people
What
being slaughtered in Gaza.
Don't call us Russian apologists or Chinese apologists.
When
You
you're
are
the
an
one
Israel apologist.
Palestinians
You are
are
an
being
Israel
murdered.
apologist.
You work for.
You're an
You
Israel
work for
apologist.
Nancy Pelosi.
Stop supporting.
None of them. And maybe some do care.
Here we go again. Sending $17.6 billion U.S. tax dollars with no conditions attached to Netanyahu's extremist government to drop more bombs on innocent Palestinians. The Israeli government has already killed 27,000 people. 11,500 of them were children. I'm tired of my colleagues coming to me whispering, I don't really like Netanyahu. Well, then why are we sending him billions of dollars with no conditions? He literally is telling us over and over again what his intention is.
But you still playing in the same game. So it really kind of doesn't do you any good to be playing within the politic game, because you just might end up like AOC at the end of the day. Or just be running around on a hamster wheel like Bernie Sanders. Like, you look at where we are, like, you got protesters getting stabbed. A Palestinian man was stabbed in Texas after he left a protest. A protest about, like, you know, stopping the war. What? And before that, you had 3 Palestinian kids get shot in Vermont. One of them was paralyzed. What's the point of this? Like, this anger and this stupidity, this xenophobia, is Islamophobia, is racism, is anti-Semitism. And I mean anti-Semitism that's facing the Arab people and the Jewish people. And I'm not talking about the Zionists. I'm talking about the Jewish people who are on the side of peace, wanting the stopping of the war and the occupation, because there's a lot of Jewish people. There's a lot of traditional Jewish people who want the ending of the occupation too. And there's also a lot of Jewish people, traditional Jewish people who, like Orthodox or whatever, who want Jewish people to agree to the one state and probably leave Israel. Because if you go by biblical terms, Jewish people ain't supposed to come back until Jesus returns. And as far as if you talk about weird conspiracy theory terms, like the red heifer kind of thing, Christian Zionists want all of the Jewish people there so that it can bring upon the apocalypse. Yeah, you can look that up. Again, Google is your best friend. Your best friend. But when you look at this, where we are as a people, right now it seems to be coming to a head in certain regards, because the election is going to be between 2 people that shouldn't be in office, because one doesn't know where he is, And the other doesn't know where he is, but he's more flashy about it. Where we got, like, dudes getting attacked in the streets for possibly being from another country. The dumbass in New York from the Guardian Angels, who I've never liked. I mean, I was a kid and wasn't really fun. I was born in 90, but they was around in the 80s and all that stuff that when New York's crime was a little higher and there was a lot more going on, and they were supposed to be like the vigilante group, even though you shouldn't be doing that. And the dude has never gone away. I forgot his name, but he was positioning to try to be, I think, governor or mayor of New York. I'll put it in the damn video. But he's on Fox News talking about migrants taking over the city. And the dude on Fox, Sean Hannity or whatever, was like, yeah, it's wild, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, we handling one right now. And Fox dude is like, yo, he's like, word? He's like, yeah, let me pan the camera to that. And they jumping some dude that they think is a migrant and allegedly did something. The dude is from the Bronx, fam.
You divide 53 million by 500, that's a $106,000 debit card. Not a bad deal. I don't think they're giving them to vets that are homeless in New York City. Not that I've heard, Curtis.
Well, in fact, our guys have just taken down one of the migrant guys right here on the corner, 42nd and 7th, while all this is
Can you pan the camera?
They've taken over. They've taken over. You'd like the camera over there if at all possible.
Yep. Oh, you got your key open, guys.
It's out of control. Out of control.
There. All right. Now, Eric Adams often complains he's getting no support from the federal government to help him with the surge of Joe Biden.
So I say all these things to say, like, I think humanity screwed up. I feel like we are all God having a human experience. And some people are misusing their powers in regards to their existence, like their ability to be here and present and conscious of their being. I want to close it with this and saying, with great power comes great responsibility. So Uncle Ben was right. Make sure to keep the do-rag cape rolled. All right, peace.